Okay, so in this Revise With Me video, we're going to be looking at ratio. So if you want to join in, please make sure you've got some pen and paper with you before we start. If there's any specific topic that you want a Revise With Me video done for, please just tell your maths teacher and one of us can get one uploaded to help you with your revision. Perhaps in a mock exam or in a homework you found one topic more difficult than you thought, then that would be an ideal topic for us to put onto this little playlist. So our first question here is simplifying ratio. You simplify ratio in the similar sort of way of simplifying a fraction. We're looking to see what times table 25 and 35 appear in, or we're looking to see what will divide into 25 and 35 exactly with no remainders. So we're looking for a common factor. 5 goes into both of these. Both of these are from the 5 times table. 5 goes into 25 5 times. 5 goes into 35 7 times. So this will simplify to the ratio 5 to 7. For question B, the 18 and the 45 both come from the 9 times table. So I think now about my 9 times table. And I say 9 goes into 18 twice. 9 goes into 45 5 times, 2 to 5. I can't change the order in which I'm writing them down. If I put 5 to 2 here, I would actually have got it wrong. So it has to be 2 semicolon 5. Simplify the ratio 300 to 25. Well, these are both in the 25 times table. If you decided to do the 5 times table, you wouldn't be wrong, but you wouldn't have the final answer straight away. So if you did the 5 times table, you'd have to go through and simplify it a second time. So how many 25s in 300? And how many 25s in 25? So 25 goes into 300 12 times. 25 goes into 25 once. So we've got the ratio of 12 to 1. If we'd use the 5 times table, and we said how many 5s go into 300, we would have had 60. How many 5s go into 25? 5. This answer's not wrong, it just needs to be done a second time, so it's not simplified as far as possible. We then have to say 5 times table again, how many 5s in 60 and how many 5s in 5, and then we would have had the same final answer. Part B says divide 700 in the ratio 5 to 3 to 2. So this is a sharing using a ratio question. If you have maths with me, you're quite used to seeing me drawing it as a diagram, and I do this every time. It doesn't have to be neat, it's just to help you visualize what's going on. So the first thing that I would do is I would split so that I could see the 5 shares for the first person, 3 shares for the second person, 2 shares for the last person. I can now see that there's actually 10 shares in my entire picture. The £700 shared between the 10 circles would have to be £70 a circle. In these ratio questions, every portion will always be exactly the same size. Nobody has a larger portion per circle or per square than anybody else. So now for the first person, when I put all of these together, I can see that I've got 5 lots of 70. And then for the second person, I need those 3 lots of 70. And for that last person, they've just got those 2. 140. Alex and Thomas share 30 sweets. They divide them in the ratio Alex to Thomas 3 to 2. So here's my ratio for Alex and for Thomas, 3 to 2. Because we've got 30 sweets to share over those 5 circles, I know that there's 6 sweets in every one of those circles. So Thomas has these 2 circles and he has 12 sweets. Sophie has 60 pencils. The ratio of sharpened to blunt is 4 to 1. sharpened to blunt. As I can see that there are 5 pots to put the pencils in, there must be 12 pencils in each pot. How many sharpened pencils does Sophie have? 4 pots of 12. 48. The number of people who voted for the Green Party was 1,500. The number of people who voted for the Blue Party was 9,000. They're asking for the ratio written in its simplest form. So if I start with green to blue, 1,500 to 9,000, this is the ratio, but the numbers are very big and can be simplified. If I take off 2 zeros from both, I've already simplified it now to much more manageable numbers, 15 and 90. But I know from my 5 times table work that both of these numbers are in the 5 times table. So how many 5s in 15? How many 5s in 90? So now my numbers have got even smaller. But I haven't finished because I can now see that they're also in the 3 times table. How many 3s in 3? How many 3s in 18? So my simplest form, the smallest I can go, is 1 to 6. For every 1 person who voted for the Green Party, there were 6 people who voted for the Blue Party. A piece of carpet is 240 centimetres long. Mr. Jones cuts it into 3 pieces. 1, 2, and 5. And we want to find the longest piece. So this 240 has been broken down into 8 pieces. Every one of those pieces would be 30. And the longest piece of carpet would be this bit over here, where you've got 5 30s. So that would be 150 centimetres. Question 7, Sarah has some chocolates, 24 white, 16 milk, and 8 dark. Write the ratio of white to milk to dark. You've got to put them in the right order. 24, 16, and 8. I can see that they're all in the 2 times table. How many 2s in 24? How many 2s in 16? How many 2s in 8? Oh, I can see that these are also in the 2 times table. 6, 4, and 2. And again, 3, 2, and 1. 3, 2, and 1. I could have just divided those original 3 numbers by 8. I would have got to 3, 2, and 1 straight away. But it doesn't matter, as long as I keep going until I've got the smallest, simplest form for my ratio, everything's fine. Part B, Rachel has some apples and bananas. And the ratio of apples to bananas is 2 to 3. And she has 14 apples. So this time, this is a little bit different. So when I think about the 2 boxes of apples and the 3 boxes of bananas, this time I'm told that these boxes of apples come to 14 apples. But I'm not told how many to put in each one. It's not a case of doing 14 shared over 5 boxes. That wouldn't work. But if I know that these 2 boxes here give us a total of 14 apples, then that is telling me that I have 1 box of 7 and another box of 7. And in ratio questions, all boxes must have exactly the same amount. So if that's 2 boxes of 7 to make 14 apples, this is 3 boxes of 7 to make 21 bananas. Question 8. Chris and Molly win money in a competition. They share the money in the ratio 2 to 3. So this is Chris. This is Molly. Chris has 2 packs of money. Molly has 3. We're also told here that Molly has £240. So these 3 boxes or 3 packs of money give Molly £240 and Chris only had 2. So we've got to share that £240 between the 3 packs of money that Molly has. That tells us that every pack of money is £80. The same for Chris. Every pack of money would be £80. So Chris has actually got 2 packs of money and £160. How much money did they win in the competition? Well, all 5 packs of money were won in the competition, and every one of those packs of money had £80 in it. 5 eighths, £400. Question 9. 945 shared 2 parts. 5 parts. 945 shared between the 7 circles. That's £135 a pot, or £135 a share. Every share will always be the same size. So 2 of them, 270, or 5 of them, 675. Question 10. At a rugby match, the ratio of children to adults is 2 to 3. There are 80 children in the crowd. So children, adults, children, adults, 80 children in the crowd. We need to know how many adults there were. And each adult ticket costs £8, and each child ticket is a quarter of the adult. We'll talk about that in a second. So if there's 80 children, these 2 shares here must give us the 80 children as a total. So every one of those packs, portions, boxes, whatever you want to call them, this time our ratio is all to do with the 40. So there are 80 children and 120 adults. All of those adults need to pay £8 each, and the children pay a quarter of the adult ticket. So they only pay £2 each. So you got £960 from the adults, £160 from the kids. Altogether, that's going to give us £1,120. Right, this is probably the most difficult type of ratio question, and is best done with the picture because it helps you see your information and makes it clear where that £25 more came from. So let's go through how I'd put the picture together. Charlene and Danielle share some money in the ratio 2 to 3. Charlene, Danielle. So here's Charlene's share, here's Danielle's share. Danielle gets £25 more than Charlene. So you can see that they've actually got 2 portions each exactly the same. And that extra portion that Danielle has there has given her an extra £25. Danielle gets £25 more than Charlene. There it is, in our last circle. But if that circle's £25, they actually all are. So the Charlene circles are £25, the Danielle circles are £25. Charlene has 2 of them and Danielle has 3 of them. But that information is best visualised in one of these diagrams and not just thought about as a calculation. The ratio of boys to girls in a school, 4 to 5, and there are 220 boys. Boys, girls. And if there are 220 boys, that means that these 4 circles here come to 220 for the boys. Every one of those circles must be 55 boys. But remember that in these diagrams, if one circle is 55, they all are. How many students attend the school altogether? Well, there's those 220 boys. There's the 5 circles for the girls, which is 275. So altogether in this school, there's 495 boys and girls. The ratio of girls to boys in a class is 2 to 3. Here's the 2 groups of girls. Here's the 3 groups of boys. This time it asks us about a fraction, but it's still easier to see in a diagram. So what fraction of the class are girls? Well, there's 2 parts over here, there's 3 parts over there. So out of the 5 parts, 2 are girls. And it says what percentage of the class are boys. If I wanted to know what percentage of the class are boys, first of all, I'd think that it's 3 out of 5 as a fraction for the boys, 6 out of 10, 60 out of 100. 60% boys, 60%, 40% girls, 2 out of 5 as a fraction, 3 out of 5 as a fraction. But it's easy to see in the picture, so I always draw a picture so that I can see how my ratio can change. The angles in a triangle are in the ratio 1 to 2 to 9. What's the size of the largest angle? Well, I know the angles in a triangle must add up to 180. So all 12 shares must come to 180. If I share my 180 out 12 ways, this tells me every one of my portions is worth 15 degrees, and the largest one is these 9 here, and every one of those 9 is 15. So all 9 of them put together gives me a total of 135. 30 there, 15 there, and 135 in that big one. 3 angles this time are in the ratio of 2 to 3 to 5. But I'm told the smallest one is actually 50. So 2 to 3 to 5. And this one, this small one here, is actually 50. So I can see that that's 2. 1, 2. One portion must be worth 25. Every one of those portions is the same size in the entire diagram. All of them 25. So the other 2 angles, this one here must be 75. And this one here, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lots of 25 must be 125. Question 16, last one. 4 schools sent students to a language course. One of the schools sent both French and German students. The ratio of French to German students was 1 to 3, French to German. The school sent 21 German students. So 1 to 3, and this was with 21 German students. So every group must be 7. The other 3 schools sent the same number of students. Work out the total number of students sent on the language course. Well, this school actually sent a total of 28 students on the course, and this was school number 1. One of the schools sent French and German students. They sent 28 students. The other 3 schools sent the same number, So we've actually got 4 schools, and all 4 schools sent 28 students. So out of all 4 schools, 28 students from each one, there's 112 students on the language course.